I got to add a little bit about this guy, Doug Kerr. A lot of you probably never met him. Unfortunately, one of those that died too young. He was a classy guy. Perfect, the epitome of what the PBS is about. He was a game warden in New York State. He died suddenly shoveling snow. But when every banquet, he would donate multiple items. A lot of times it was art, a lot of times it was jewelry, a lot of times it would be a knife. In particular, I remember one year he donated a whole box of trout flies that he personally hand-tied. And I think, Greg, is that the one that you won? Where's Greg Darling? I think, was that the one that you, yeah. Greg and I really wanted that bad. He beat me out. But before those flies, before the auction, I opened that box up and took those flies out and examined them closely, and every one of those flies was tied as well as a dry fly or a trout fly could be tied. That's just the type of guy he was. I had several, and Doug never admitted this, but I had several opportunities to hunt with him, and one time, a couple instances I got to share with you. One time I went to pick him up. He came out of the woods, and he was wearing, I wish I would have had a camera. This guy was, he looked like he stepped right out of the 20s. He had a plaid shirt on. He had bloused pants. I don't even know where you buy them nowadays. The kind of pants that I guess that's what you call them, not blouse, but the kind that are wide and narrow down to the tapered. And then he had real, they must have been 16 or 18 inch laced boots, laced all the way up with his pants tucked in. He had a back quiver, an old 1920s hat on, and he had a longbow, and I don't remember if it was a self bow, whether it had bone nocks or what, but I did remember when he stepped out of the woods, he had his bow unstrung. And as he walked up to me, first thing I said to him, I said, "You break your bowstring?" And he says, "No." He says, I don't brace my bow until I get ready to shoot." And I'd never met anybody that hunted with an unstrung bow. And you know, that's the kind of guy he was. He didn't even string his bow until right before he decided to shoot. Another time, we were riding in the truck, just he and I, and he started yelling. He says, "Look at that! Look at that!" And I hit the brakes. I didn't know what he was looking at. And I said, "What?" And he goes, "It's a merlin." And I said, "A what?" And he said, "A merlin. Look, it's a merlin, man." And I said, "What's a merlin?" You know. And I learned it's a species of falcon. And not only did he identify, I never heard of the thing, but I learned that day what a merlin looks like, and we saw one. But I couldn't believe how excited he was about seeing this, I almost said damn bird, but but he really got excited about it, and it was very admirable, really. But that's the type of guy, Doug Curry. Sorry, Doug. And you're almost there too. Anyway, all right. The new millennium. Let's talk about the new century, Y2K. First decade of new century saw PBS refine what we were all about. We hesitatingly jumped into the computer world with online forums to help promote PBS and organize our members. Now I'm going to ask past President Wayne Capp. Where are you, Wayne? He's going to come up and talk to us about the first 10 years of the new millennium. Wayne, by the way, maybe I should wait to say this later, but if we took an IQ test amongst members of this organization, Wayne would win. And not only that, but, I shouldn't say but, and yeah, the guy's the most intelligent guy I've ever known, I think, personally, and I notice I said and not but, the guy's a lawyer. You know, and that's pretty admirable right there, to be smart and a lawyer and a good guy and a bow hunter. So anyway, with that, I'm going to hand the mic. Maybe that's a big mistake. Hand the mic over to Wayne Capp. Here's Wayne Capp.
only thought it was a mistake, so he didn't give me the mic. And I am smart enough to know I didn't have it. Thank you, Gene, I think. And I wasn't always a lawyer. The last time I think I addressed this group, I was getting ready to head to law school and moving on from the presidency, not taking a second term, to go to law school. What a smart thing to do. I won't tell you why that was smart, but I'm now a lawyer. And I'm now back, and I'm very honored to be addressing this crowd again. The new millennium started with the torch being passed to me to lead this organization, but I have to say first that that torch gets passed from decade to decade and from president to president, with the memory of other presidents coming before you, and those names of folks that you saw on the screen tonight and that you've heard, it all gets passed down. We don't take this mantle lightly. And I took the mantle from the likes of Jim Chin and Ben Dodge. Jim Chin in particular is special to me. He's not here this evening, and he hasn't been here for the past several banquets. We need to figure out a way to get Jimmy Chin back. But Jimmy Chin introduced me to this organization. We hunted together. We laughed together. He introduced me to people like Gene and Dick Robertson and Barry and so many other names that I would be remiss to try and mention them all. He created for me another family. And my family grew up with these men too. My son Kyle is here at his first banquet. He remembers, Gene is that guy that came to coffee quite a lot. My daughter remembers Barry as Father Christmas. Little did they know. In any case, the new millennium started, and as in other decades, you, the membership, drove the organization from the ground up. We don't lead this organization. The organization leads us. The membership leads PBS. And we started the new millennium by reaffirming and restating those same principles that you heard Doug Borland talking about a little earlier. Returning to the root, the foundation of what PBS is, what it was, and what it continues to be to this day. We started the new millennium with a traditional values theme in Seattle. And we emphasized values. We struggled again with whether or not we should become a traditional equipment organization or a traditional value organization. And the membership again overwhelmingly reaffirmed values, not equipment. We open our arms wide to those who want to take the path up with us and to carry forward bow hunting's best values and best ethics. So at that crossroads, we chose values, not equipment. We still hear now and then that we should be a traditional organization because after all, we're all traditional shooters. But really, it's the values that matter. We have to return to it time and time again, and I have no doubt that we will return to this debate again, and I also have no doubt that it will be values that wins the day. As part of our values, the membership adopted a code of ethics. I should say that the membership expanded its code of ethics. We've always had ethical considerations in PBS, but it was expanded in the millennium. I think reading our preamble to our code of ethics best exemplifies what it means to be a PBS member. I quote, "The proliferation of modern technology and the ancient sport of bow hunting is of concern to all bow hunters, when innovation leads to significant increase in big game harvests and consequences that include the scrutiny of liberal archery seasons by those responsible for wild game management and hunting regulation. Technological innovation can also blur the distinction between what has traditionally been the concept of fair chase and unethical hunting behaviors. For these reasons, the Professional Bowhunter Society has deemed it necessary to establish the following code of ethics and equipment policy statements, which we believe our members have come to exemplify and we hope will be adopted by the larger bow hunting community, unquote. In the code of ethics, the members adopted individually the following items as exemplifying this group of bow hunters. The members set a 65% let-off maximum on the use of a compound bow to hunt game. They defined what a let-off is, how it should be measured, what the parameters are for fish and game departments to adopt. I won't go into all of the technical aspects of it, but I'm happy to tell you that at least 2 states, Montana and Utah and Idaho, have adopted this same standard, so that you cannot hunt big game in a bow season with something that exceeds these standards. Our membership also adopted a definition of what a hunting arrow is, establishing minimum length. The fact that a broadhead sits on the front of the arrow and not the back, which frankly manufacturers have started to do, using the broadhead as fletching, for Pete's sake. Minimum arrow weight for penetration purposes. Minimum broadhead dimensions for effective and clean kills. We reaffirmed through the membership our commitment to opposing the crossbow during archery seasons. As Doug said earlier, we wrote down and opposed the use of artificial lights on bows and arrows in the pursuit of big game. We took a stand, controversial, to this day controversial, on the unethical use of all-terrain vehicles. I am pleased to tell you that that stand helped to form and start Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. And today our Vice President, Jim Akinson, stands as the Executive Director of that organization. And 2 of our past presidents sit on that board of directors. It can start with an idea. We took a stand against the use of electronic devices in the pursuit of big game. The use of two-way communications, satellite telephones, and GPS in the direct pursuit of game is not an ethical pursuit for a PBS member. And once again, we informed our membership, through our membership, by our membership, and for our membership, that we must adhere to game laws in the jurisdiction where we are hunting, and that all game must be taken by the rules of fair chase. These are important considerations, and they need to be front and center yet again, so that this organization will attract those of like mind and like spirit, and we will continue on into the new millennium. We will face the same challenges and new ones. Today, turn on your TV set. You will see some of the greatest dangers to bow hunting spilled out across your screen on sporting channels where big game is being killed with the use of generally the compound bow. and hunters are dancing around like monkeys, pumping their fists and screaming, "That's what I mean, man, that's what I mean." If PBS wants to take a stand on that kind of thing, we will draw people in droves. And we should. The new millennium brings us many challenges. It also brings us many opportunities. Methods for communication, methods for drawing new members, methods for bringing us all back together again to fight for common causes and to keep the spirit of bow hunting alive. With that, I will turn it back to my friend Gene.